and the vision for a project such as this begins at the top. Mayor Nutter has committed to making Philadelphia the greenest city in the nation, and Deputy Mayor DeBerardinez consistently pushes staff and our partners to pursue activities which increase the aesthetics, safety, and environmental quality of our parks and recreation centers. Please welcome Deputy Mayor and Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Michael DeBerardinez.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is a really nice night, and it's so wonderful to be here in Germantown with so many folks who care about this park and work every day to make sure it's alive with programs, it's clean, it's safe, and well used by the community. Projects like this cost a lot of money and take a lot of coordination. And as Mark said, it's leadership. The mayor's leadership around these kind of investments in every neighborhood, so every citizen can have access to high quality public space, is unwavering and is an inspiration to the women and men in the department who do this work, who not only work on the capital side, but also work on the maintenance side, who work on the keeping the grounds clean, and then who run the programs at these facilities. Both city employees and folks who are from the nonprofits who work here in the museum and in other activities throughout the year. Having a councilwoman who, believe me, she cares about her district, because sometimes I'm on the receiving end of that caring.
Yeah. Go Sunday.
Here's a little story. During the construction phase, there was some fencing put up that took up too much of the space, so the oldies event that was supposed to take place on the weekend. What night? I forget what night.
Wednesday night.
Could not happen. I got my ear was so red and burning after the phone call that I just got in my car, drove up here, met the PHS staff, met my staff, and wouldn't you know it, there was too much fencing up, and we did take that fencing down. But Cindy Bass, the councilwoman here, is just talk about partners. When there's a project like this, we need to come in and know that we're going to talk business and we're going to talk investments, because we move our money. The mayor gives us in the capital program that works with what Cindy gets in her district. And that kind of working together and bringing in other partners is so essential to the success. And I want to thank you on behalf of the men and women of the department. I want to thank you, and hopefully for the folks in the neighborhood here, for your support and your style and your commitment. Thank you very much. And finally, many thank yous to Barb McCabe and her stewardship staff, who work so very hard to keep all our parks across the city safe, clean, and ready to use. To our long-term partner, PHS, who we have all sorts of projects all over the city, and they were a big part in the design of this project. And many thank yous to the Friends of Vernon Park, Ruth, and your leadership. And when I was in the rec department in the 90s, you guys were here. So thank you for all your leadership. And I look forward to our ceremonial ribbon cutting. And without further ado, let me introduce you to my boss, a man who is, like Mark said, pushed our department to perform at the highest level around greening, around quality program for young people, and around sustainability. Our leadership comes from him, our mayor, Mayor Michael Nutter.
Good evening, everyone, and Mike, thank you. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for taking all of those calls from Councilwoman Bass, but some of that love and caring does get to me, and she lets me know what's on her mind as well. You are well represented here in Germantown, in the 8th Council District. Let me assure you, Mike and Mark, and certainly Margaret at PHS, and Ruth, Seeley, of course, the Friends of Vernon Park. And the Friends of Vernon Park, please give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you. Sometimes, people say, well, what's it like in public service? And as a mayor, you have all these responsibilities, and, somebody wants this, and this one wants that, and the other one wants the other thing. And my response is, I would rather have an active, engaged group of folks in the community who want what they want, know what they want, and are willing to fight for it, than an apathetic group that folks are just kind of sitting around and saying, well, nothing's ever going to happen and nothing will ever change, and we don't want anything because nothing's going to happen anyway. So, to the advocates, to the folks who push us to do the things that we do, thank you. Thank you for your commitment. Thanks for actually caring about this city so passionately that you chase after us, and many of the things you want us to do, we actually want to do. It's not like we don't want to have events and activities. Although I have to admit, I hadn't fully read all the background detail. I did say to Alan Joinville, and there are kids out here, so I won't tell you exactly what I said. But I did wonder, why are we doing this at night? What is this? Was there no daytime time for it? And he explained some other things to me, so I don't know why we're here at night, but it is a beautiful evening. There were like 12 hours of light earlier today. Why are we having an event at 7 o'clock in the winter? But anyway, nonetheless, it is a beautiful evening, which is what my notes say, in the heart of Germantown, in Vernon Park, the emerald of Germantown. This park is full of history that in many instances, because we're so busy, some of us, that, we just kind of ride past and say, hey, that's a great park, that's nice. Well, it's more than that. The home in the middle of the park, Vernon, was once owned by John Wister, who was a member of Congress, played a key role for Pennsylvania during the Civil War. The house also played a role in the Revolutionary War, during the Battle of Germantown up the street at, now this is always a great conversation starter. Is it Clifton or Clifton? Right? Where do you get that one going? People are muted. It's Clifton. I just did that on purpose. Vernon housed injured soldiers in need of care. There's also a monument in the park near the YWCA building off Germantown Avenue to commemorate the first settlers of Germantown, led by Francis Daniel Pastorius, who drafted the first protest against slavery in America in 1688. Germantown is a neighborhood of historic importance, not only to our city, but also to our nation. But more importantly, it is, at the same time, a very modern neighborhood to many Philadelphians who deserve the best amenities available, especially for our children. As a city, we make a promise to residents to try our best to provide safe, accessible recreation and green spaces. Vernon Park was certainly in need of these new amenities, and by working with a combination of external and community partners, but at the center of it, Councilwoman Bass, we're able to restore this great public space with great new features like new lighting, which if I read that, I wouldn't have to ask that question, adult fitness equipment, playground equipment, and renovated pathways and landscaping. I'm honored to be mayor of my hometown. I think you all know that by now. But I'm also honored to be mayor of a city that so many people are working together to improve the recreational spaces for our young people and those who are young at heart. Through this project, and by making significant improvements in this park, we're able to improve the quality of life for residents and visitors here in Germantown. I want to thank everyone who made this possible, but the most important person who made it possible is the person I'm getting ready to introduce, who, as they say, needs no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, the Councilwoman for the 8th Council District, Councilwoman Cindy Betts.
Cindy!
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm going to be brief because I'm sick with a cold today, and so my voice is in and out a little bit. My Deputy Chief of Staff, Tia Watson, is here. She'll tell you all day long I was dragging. But when I got out here tonight, my energy just took over because I'm so excited and so happy with what we have done in this space. There are so many things that we want folks to see and to experience. And I have to tell you, I've done just about any and everything to get people into this park, including doing a Soul Train line right down the middle. Gary Shepherd and Oldies in the Park every Wednesday during the summer. The mayor said, wow. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
That's true, though. That's true.
But we have really worked hard to get people back into this park and to reclaim our public spaces. These are our spaces. We own them, and we need to claim them. And so what we're asking folks to do is not just be here tonight for this ceremony, not just be here, you know, on a warm day, but to be a presence in this park on the regular. And that makes all the difference. We have the Black Writers Museum at Wister House. Who's been there? If you haven't been there, raise your hand. If you haven't been there, raise your hand. Then you have to go in tonight. It's open. Supreme Dow right here is the museum curator, am I correct? And so we need folks to go in and see this wonderful space right here in Germantown, in Vernon Park. And so we want you to know about these things. I'm just so excited that everyone is here tonight. You know, as the mayor mentioned, we have new playground equipment for our young people, which includes equipment for children who are somewhere on the autism spectrum. And so if you have a young one anywhere on that spectrum, there is something for he or she to partake in. There's adult exercise equipment. So I have a 6-year-old daughter. When mommy comes to the park, you know, there's something mommy can do too while she's exercising, okay? So we can bring our kids, bring our grandkids. There's something for everyone. And again, there's plenty to see in Vernon Park. We want you to be here, and we thank you for being out here tonight. And I want to give a special shout out to the mayor, but also to Mike D, who was on the other end of that phone call and who responded so graciously. I'll put it that way. Thank you so much for all of your work, Mike. I'm, you know, getting a little informal with you. Mike is a good friend, and I really do appreciate all of his service as our commissioner for all of these years. So can we give him a round of applause also for all of the work that he's done? And we've done a lot of projects, and it's through the work of you and your dedicated staff, Mark Folks, Susan Sloss, and so many others, that we've been able to get this done. Barbara McCabe and so many others, and of course Ruth Seeley. Ruth, thank you so much. Friends of Vernon Park, we couldn't do any of this without you. And I remember calling her up when we needed a partner for Oldies in the Park. She stepped right up without hesitation, and I cannot tell you how much that means to me, and I really do appreciate you and all of the work that all of your folks have done. And of course our mayor, our wonderful mayor, for all that he has done to make this happen. He's given us so many resources at our disposal and so many more, and we just want to say thank you. And so, you know, you've really come through in so many ways, and I just really want to say thank you publicly to you for all that you've done. And so with that, I'm not sure who's speaking next. Oh, okay, so your Mark's coming back up, and at some point we're going to turn on some lights. We are. All right.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Parks and Rec has enjoyed a decades-long association with the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. For 6 park renovation projects across the city this year, the landscape architects at PHS have engaged with the community, designed and documented the improvements, and have managed construction. Please welcome the acting president of PHS, Margaret McCarville.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks for emceeing tonight.
You're very welcome.
The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society is very happy to be here today with Mayor Nutter, Deputy Mayor DeBaradinas, Councilwoman Cindy Bass, the Philadelphia Parks and Recreation and Fairmount Park Conservancy, to celebrate the completion and reopening of this special neighborhood park, which has been such a rich history here in Germantown, of which I learned more tonight. Amen. PHS has a long history with Vernon Park. It was one of the first green spaces PHS helped to revitalize in partnership with Parks and Recreation and with the support of the William Penn Foundation back in 1993. We have been working closely with the energetic, fully engaged members of the Friends of Vernon Park for more than 20 years, and we really appreciate it. PHS feels very fortunate to have been part of this most recent reinterpretation of the Vernon Park. We love the paths and the modifications that allow for new gathering spaces like the Central Green and Picnic Grove, the new play equipment, which is nestled among the plantings and lets children explore the environment and the flowers that will bloom, providing seasonal color and entertainment for them all year long. The restoration of the beautiful monuments that are taking place and spotlighting the history of this wonderful place and the new lighting, which creates a really safe place and illuminates the beauty of this extremely special space. I'd like to thank PHS, staff members, past and present, who have had a big role in this great project. Project manager Leanne Campbell, Anna Wick, Jen Martell, a lot of names here, Sarah Ditmore, Joan Kapczynski, Tammy Lee Dement, and of course, Nancy O'Donnell, a PHS alum who we continue to work with in her new role at Parks and Rec and are so happy to be partnering with her again. I'd also like to acknowledge the excellent work of our general contractor for this project, Sarah Volley. And of course, thanks very much to Parks and Rec leadership and staff who are essential to the design and building of these projects. And that is especially to First Deputy Commissioner Mark Folk and Stephanie Craighead. So thanks to everyone for these wonderful sponsorships and the chance to contribute to a wonderful community.
Thank you, Margaret. It's always great fun and do great things when we work with our colleagues at PHS, so thank you. One of the reasons that Vernon Park was selected to receive these beautiful improvements was the strong community presence. We have Center in the Park, Wister House, and the Black Writers Museum, and the Friends of Vernon Park. Projects such as these are made more meaningful when we get to work alongside engaged and committed citizens. And as you've heard, the Friends of Vernon Park have been engaged in this community and at this site for many, many years. So please welcome to the podium, representing the Friends of Vernon Park, Ruth Seeley.
This looks like a lot of pages, but I have awfully big print. I've been walking in Vernon Park this past week, and I was thinking that this green makeover is a miracle. And then I thought, no, it's not a miracle. Thank you. It's the result of a vision of a better Germantown and a whole lot of leadership and hard work for an amazing number of groups and people. A true government volunteer partnership. Our grateful thanks go to Mayor Michael Nutter for his leadership on the larger Philadelphia Green City Clean Waters vision. City Councilwoman Bass, who got this whole project started and has provided strong leadership and funding to make it happen. We invited her to a regular monthly meeting of the Friends of Vernon Park, I think about a week after you got into office. And she came. And I mean, it was just so wonderful to have that level of interest right from the get-go. Deputy Mayor for Environment and Community Resources, Mike DeVerdinis, for his commitment and initiative to supporting parks at every level. Representative Kinsey for guidance and state support. Mark Fox, Barbara McCabe, Patty Pat Kozlowski, and Dave Bauer from Philly Parks and Recreation, without whose help our Friends group couldn't function. Please, a very special cheer for these folks who are at the end of email or phone to answer all our weird questions and provide much needed support. Leanne Campbell and her design team from the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. Catherine Art Lovell and Jennifer Mehar from the Fairmount Park Conservancy, and especially Nicole Matchett and the other conservators who've been working so hard to restore our historic monuments to their former glory, and who at 5 o'clock tonight were still scrubbing away on the monument behind us. The Philadelphia Water Department, and finally Dave Swartley and his friendly crew from Sarah Volley Contractors. I have rarely met with contractors who were so helpful and in allowing us to get access to our tools on occasion that got locked in the limited area, which was really only for hard hats. So many incredible people and organizations have had a hand in this. As has been noted, Vernon Park has a rich history. We have the Center in the Park, the Black Writers Museum, and a stormwater management project developed by the Tacony-Tacony Frankfurt Watershed Partnership. We have a wide variety of trees and habitats drawing wildlife and many interesting birds and butterflies. But now we look to the future. Time for the children to play, the soccer teams to practice, and the community to plan future events. It's the future that this park is all about. So bring your friends and families and enjoy the park and start dreaming about next summer. Plan to hold an event here. One group I didn't mention at the beginning of this is the Friends of Vernon Park, and I'd like to say a very special thanks to my fellow officers on that. Fred Lewis, Vice President, Angela Miles, our Program Coordinator and Secretary par excellence, who is somewhere among you at the moment. Right there. Yay! And Mary Wood, our Treasurer. We are the group that takes care of the park. We hold special events like our recent Fall Bazaar, which thanks to all you folks who came out to sell and buy was a great success. We pick up litter, we weed garden beds, prune shrubs, clear leaves, make sure dead branches are removed, and all those actions which nobody notices unless they aren't done. Friends and volunteers contribute thousands of hours every year to ensure that this park is a green and welcoming place. So join us. Check out our website and Facebook page, come to our regular monthly meetings, and be part of our future. Thanks to you all, we can look forward in anticipation and pride. Thank you all. And here, though, is a very special gift, as my papers fly all over the place, a Friends of Vernon Park bag for Councilwoman Bass, for all your special
Thank you very much, Ruth. I'd like to conclude by acknowledging a few individuals and organizations. In rapid fire sequence, please hold your applause to the end. From Parks and Recreation, Stephanie Craig, Nancy O'Donnell, Barb McCabe, David Bauer, Alan Joinville, Crystal Parham, Joe Hager, and the entire operations team. From PHS, Leanne Campbell and Sarah Dittmore. From the Fairmont Park Conservancy, Catherine Ott Lovell, Lucy Strackhouse, Jennifer Mahar, and Aaron Engelstad, and our great contractors, Sarah Volley and Karen Duff. Please, a round of applause for everyone. So to wrap up, a quick story. When we first met with Councilwoman Bass to discuss improving Vernon Park and to solicit both her support and, yes, her funding, she immediately asked about improving lighting in the park for both safety and aesthetics. We had a great conversation, but she specifically asked if we could include stringer festival lights, as she had seen we used at Eakins Oval. I remember my comment was, well, Councilwoman, that'll cost a little bit more money. And I think we looked at each other for about 30 seconds, and then she said, okay, I'll pay for it. So, we are very excited that this project has included one of the most unique features in any one of our neighborhood parks in Philadelphia. So I would invite our guests to stand, and I would invite everybody to turn around, and we're going to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening. Have a safe trip home.